When it comes to cameras, the mid-range segment is definitely leveling up their game. There are a lot of smartphones that not only have competent cameras but are feature-packed and well-equipped in the performance department. Today we're going to be checking out two phones that really impressed us with their cameras: the Honor 200 Pro and the Realme 13 Pro Plus. If you watch our review videos or read about them on the Yugatech website, you know we highly praise the cameras of both of these smartphones. But if you had to pick between the two, does one stand out from the other? Well, I'm Jose from Yugatech, and let's get on with this comparative video between the Honor 200 Pro and the Realme 13 Pro Plus to find out. As we always say, style is subjective. But in terms of styling, the Honor 200 Pro and the Realme 13 Pro Plus each have their unique styling quirks. In fact, it's easy to distinguish one from another, even if you're like a mile away. Starting with the Honor 200 Pro, it features a more traditional smartphone design language that we've become familiar with. In the upper left corner, you'll find the large camera island that houses the triple camera system and the flash. The back panel itself is also worth talking about too, because it features a two-tone design, but not in the usual way you think about it. The majority is finished in matte, but the upper portion that contains the camera island is in gloss. Since a big portion of the phone is finished in matte, this makes it nice to hold, especially if you aren't using a case like this one. I mean, why would you want to use a case anyway? It looks great, especially in this ocean blue color. However, the glossy portion of this phone isn't as smudge resistant, so you might find yourself wiping down that portion quite often. In comparison, the Realme 13 Pro Plus features a more bolder design with a large circular camera island at the top center. It adopts the design cue of its predecessor, the Realme 12 series, but cleans it up by making it look a lot more premium. Realme ditched the zipper-like design that runs the entire length of the phone, and what you get is a clean glass back panel with all of the attention focused on the camera island. And of course, you still have the fluted bezel design that reminds me of the Rolex watches that I've always loved. Outside of style though, both phones are equally protected with an IP65 rating for dust and water resistance. With that, it's safe to say that both the Honor 200 Pro and the Realme 13 Pro Plus are on equal footing in terms of styling. The only question is though, which one do you like looking at better? Moving on to the display, both screens on the Honor 200 Pro and the Realme 13 Pro Plus are very impressive. However, it's the Honor that inches out in terms of size. The Honor 200 Pro features a 6.78-inch display with an OLED panel and support for HDR. This being an OLED panel, you do get really beautiful colors and deep blacks, which gives users an immersive viewing experience. Probably our favorite aspect of the Honor 200 Pro's display is how bright it can get. It has a maximum peak brightness of 4,000 nits, allowing you to see everything on the screen very clearly even on those really sunny days. In addition, you also get a 120Hz refresh rate, giving you smooth animation all around, whether you're watching videos or playing games. Because it does have a dual stereo speaker, you do have decent audio quality as well. It can be loud if you max it out too, with up to 200% max volume. However, there is no mention of tuning nor support for high-res audio. In comparison, the Realme 13 Pro Plus features a smaller 6.7-inch OLED panel with Full HD Plus resolution. Just like 200 Pro, since it is an OLED panel, you do get really nice colors and deep blacks. And based on our observations, they're more or less the same. Not to mention, you also have up to 2000 nits peak brightness. It's not as high as the Honor 200 Pro, but it's more than enough, especially if you're bringing it outside on a sunny day. It also comes with 120Hz resolution for smooth animation and dual stereo speakers with support for high-res audio. Between the two, the colors are more or less the same, giving you a similar viewing pleasure. The main differences would probably be the brightness. It's helpful when you're taking photos, but unless you're outside all the time, you probably won't need to max out the screen brightness either. As for the audio, the Honor 200 Pro does seem to have the louder speakers, but the Realme 13 Pro Plus has better audio quality. What does matter is the level of protection the screens offer. There is no mention of protection on the Honor 200 Pro, but the Realme 13 Pro Plus comes with Corning Gorilla Glass 7i. With that, the Realme 13 Pro Plus does take its first point in its comparison because, you can never be too safe with Corning Gorilla Glass. Exhibit A. See? Still good. Now let's talk about the cameras. possibly the part you're most interested in between the Honor 200 Pro and the Realme 13 Pro Plus. Both of these smartphones have some of the best cameras offered in the mid-range segment. Starting with the Honor 200 Pro, you have a 50 megapixel main shooter that uses a super dynamic H9000 sensor with PDAF and OIS. In addition, you also get a 50 megapixel telephoto with a Sony IMX856 sensor and a 12 megapixel ultrawide. For selfie lovers, you have a 50 megapixel front camera. For video, the Honor 200 Pro can record content up to 4K at 60 FPS. Now, moving over to the Realme 13 Pro Plus, you also get a triple rear camera setup featuring a 50 megapixel main, 50 megapixel periscope telephoto, and an 8 megapixel ultrawide. The cameras are similar to the Honor 200 Pro, but they use a different set of lenses and sensors. The main shooter uses a Sony LYT701 sensor with support for OIS and 2x in-sensor zoom. Meanwhile, the 50 megapixel periscope telephoto uses Sony's LYT600 sensor with 3x optical zoom and up to 6x in-sensor zoom. As for the 32 megapixel selfie camera, it's a Sony IMX615 sensor. For video recording, you can record up to a maximum of 4K at 30 FPS. In terms of image quality, the Realme seems to have the edge over the Honor. Both phones take sharp photos during the day, and it's a relatively similar story when shooting in low light conditions. There is a slight difference in colors though, but it's likely down to how the phone processes them. And as a result, images from the Realme look a bit more saturated and vivid, while the one on the 200 Pro look a bit more natural. But again, it's subjective which one you like better. But they do differ a lot when it comes to long-range shooting. The Realme has up to 6x zoom from the start, and you do get relatively sharp images, and you can make out a lot more detail. On the Honor 200 Pro, when you're zooming in at the same zoom length as 6x like the Realme, the AI seems to take over a lot more and the details aren't as sharp. But in terms of video though, the Honor 200 Pro does have the upper hand. Not only can it shoot at 4K at 60 FPS, it also has stabilization at 4K at 30 FPS. While the Realme does have stabilization, it's only effective at 1080p at 60 FPS. Given how each phone's cameras have their own strengths and weaknesses, I'll definitely have to give them a tie in this round. Under the hood, the Honor 200 Pro enters this matchup with the advantage, at least on paper. It runs on a newer Qualcomm Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 chipset versus the older Snapdragon 7S Gen 3 chipset of the Realme 13 Pro Plus. Both phones do have 12GB of RAM and another 12GB for extended or virtual RAM at their disposal. In terms of storage, they're also on equal footing with up to 512GB maximum. There's no micro SD card slot available to expand storage further on either phone as well. And as you would expect, based on the chipset alone, the Honor 200 Pro takes the lead here, beating the Realme 13 Pro Plus in all of the benchmarks. In Antutu alone, the 200 Pro scored over 1.1 million, while the Realme 13 Pro Plus only scored around 550,000. And you can check out the rest of the scores here to see just how powerful this phone is compared to the Realme. But benchmarks are just one thing. In real-world use, the Realme 13 Pro Plus does handle day-to-day tasks just as well as the Honor 200 Pro. In gaming though, the difference between the two shows. It has a harder time running Genshin Impact on full graphics as compared to the Honor 200 Pro. This phone also heats up a bit more after extended periods of time, especially when you're playing Genshin as compared to the Honor 200 Pro. With that, the Honor 200 Pro takes a point. In terms of connectivity, you get the usual stuff available for both of these phones, 5G and Bluetooth. But only the Realme 13 Pro Plus has Wi-Fi 6 but lacks NFC and infrared option, which is available on the Honor 200 Pro. Both phones run on Android 14, while the Honor 200 Pro is skinned with Magic OS 8.0 and the Realme UI 5.0 on the Realme 13 Pro Plus. I like their designs and they're easy to use. However, the Honor does have a lot less bloatware as compared to the Realme, which I find this really nice. Now we move on to the battery. Both the Realme 13 Pro Plus and the Honor 200 Pro have larger than average batteries rated at 5,200 mAh. So you'd expect them to have more or less the same battery life, right? Well, interestingly, that wasn't the case. When we ran PCMark's Work 3.0 battery test, the Honor 200 Pro only lasted 12 hours and 28 minutes. In comparison, the Realme 13 Pro Plus lasted 19 hours and 58 minutes, almost 7.5 hours longer. For reference, both tests were done in the same condition, 50% brightness, 0 volume, and airplay low. When you do need to recharge the phones though, the Honor does have the slight advantage with 100 watt fast charging versus 80 watt on the Realme 13 Pro Plus. Still, you won't find yourself plugging in the Realme as often as the Honor 200 Pro. Now it seems both phones are almost evenly matched in terms of points, but we have yet to talk about the price of these. Between the two, the Honor 200 Pro is the more affordable one with an SRP of 29,999 pesos for the lone 12 plus 512GB variant. Meanwhile, the Realme starts at 28,999 pesos. But that's for the 12 plus 256GB variant. If you want the 12 plus 512GB variant, that's 31,999 pesos, which is 2,000 pesos more than the Honor 200 Pro. I know it's a 2,000 peso difference, but for some, that might be a make or break factor, especially if you're a bit tight on budget. More importantly though, it puts them in different price brackets, one above 30,000 pesos and the other below. In terms of camera output though, which is one of the main points of this comparo, whichever one you choose though, you will enjoy capturing photos and videos on either of these phones. But between the two, which one would you pick? The Honor 200 Pro or the Realme 13 Pro Plus? Because at the end of the day, the choice is yours to make. Whatever the case, share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video or found it informative, do drop a like and subscribe to watch more. Don't forget to follow us on our socials, Facebook, X, IG, and TikTok. And of course, visit yugatech.com to stay updated with the latest tech news and reviews. Speaking of reviews, you can check out our full review on both of these phones now live on the website. Once again, this has been Jose, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!